guys, it's Sam, and this is my gripe video for A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. So as you guys know, if you have already watched my review video, I did not like this book as much as I was expecting. It did not live up to the hype for me, and I was left feeling just very disappointed in it, which is why this is a gripe video. There are elements that I really enjoy about this book, which I'll be talking about as well, but overall, this just did not live up to the hype for me, and I'm sad about it. First, for the world building, I loved the elements of the world building in this book. I absolutely adored all the different Londons. I could envision all of them perfectly. I loved Red London, and I could just picture everything about it. I could picture the way it smelled, and all the markets, and the clothing. I really liked the descriptions of clothing in this book, especially Lila's last outfit, where she dresses with like the pants, and the boots, and the mask. I could picture that perfectly. I also loved how White London was described because it sounded creepy, kind of like it was dying. Just not a good place to be. And even just the descriptions of Black London, even though we never got to see Black London, I definitely pictured it as a very creepy place that you did not want to be. So I really enjoyed all those elements. Also, all of the magic I thought was really cool. I liked how people kind of figured out what parts of magic they were good at. I loved Kel's magic and his blood magic, and how it's kind of like the superior magic almost, and how it's used and how it does kind of drain him. And I also liked the way that the rock worked and kind of drained him, and was actually kind of creepy how like magic took on a form and could kind of control people, and it just took on more of a sinister, darker shade of magic, and I really enjoyed those elements and that storytelling bits. Like I could perfectly picture everything, and I really, really enjoyed that. So let me talk about my main gripe, which is the characters. Characters were such a disappointment to me. Mostly, honestly, Lila. I went in expecting to love Lila. As soon as I saw her and I saw that she was a pirate and a thief, those are my favorite kinds of characters. I love criminals. I love pirates the most. I just was expecting to love her so much more, and she just felt like a trope to me. She was just this like, I'm rough around the edges, rough and tumble, I've had a rough life, and da-da-da. And it was just like, I've seen this before, and I've heard this before, and it's like, you know, this sassy girl who can take care of herself, but then she breaks down. I've seen it, and it made me so upset the way that she was just depicted, and I wanted some more character growth from her that I just didn't feel like I got. I liked her a little more towards the end, but I was ultimately just expecting so much more from her. Also, I would have really loved if Lila would have had to save Kel instead of Kel saving Lila. I kind of was annoyed with the fact that magic was kind of the end-all be-all in this world. A lot of times, you know, we have magic being like, magic comes with a price. Once upon a time, wink wink. And you need to kind of level that out, and the fact that she couldn't really defeat anybody without magic kind of annoys me. I really kind of wanted her and Astrid to go head to head, and for her to kill Astrid without magic. I think that would have been very kind of like symbolic and just kind of indicative of you don't need magic to defeat anybody, when Kel used magic ultimately to defeat both of them. And I just think that you could have had the character that didn't have magic rise up and defeat somebody like Astrid, who is so dependent on magic and wants everything to be about magic and about power. I think you've taken this more weak, non-magical character, non-magical, I'll get to that later, and destroy magic. And I wanted that, and I just didn't get it. And also just the fact that, like, Lila never really saved Kel. At the beginning, the part with Holland, at the very beginning, that first interaction, she kind of did. But after that, it was always him kind of saving her butt. And I just was annoyed by that. Again, because she's depicted as this very strong, cutthroat kind of character. She's killed a bunch of people. She's been on her own for so long. But she couldn't really outwit anybody else within this, like, magical world. And I get that she's not magical, and that, you know, magic is kind of like the power that is above everything else, but I just expected more from her, and the fact that he always kind of came to her rescue was really disappointing for me. Also, on the non-magical route, let's talk about the fact that I'm pretty sure Lila is a traveler, right? Like, I'm pretty sure she's Antari, because she suddenly, we figure out 60% of the way through the book, doesn't have an eye, is missing one of her eyes, and she lost it when she was a child, and she can suddenly travel through the walls with Kel, even without the stone. Pretty sure she's Antari, and I'm kind of annoyed that we didn't get an explanation for that within this book. I'm not completely annoyed with that. That's not why I, like, docked any points or anything like that, but really, we get this kind of dropped on us without any kind of foreshadowing more than halfway through the book, and we don't have any kind of hinting at it at all for the rest of the book. that she has. We know that she has like magical abilities and whatever, but I want a little more from that within this book, and we didn't get that, and that just kind of bugs me. Like, you're gonna drop that on us and then not really talk about it again. And again, she couldn't use any kind of magic to like maybe have a little bit of magic to kind of throw off Astrid or something like that. Like, really just kind of frustrated me. Let's talk about Holland for a second. Holland I actually really enjoyed because he is really the epitome of a morally gray character to me, because he's been bound by people that he hates, and he didn't want to really go to war, and he didn't want to fight, but he just did want to take control of the throne, and he's bound by these people who are despicable and disgusting, and he's a lot like Kell, obviously, and he's connected to Kell in the way that, like, they're the last two remaining, they think, because, like I said, I'm pretty sure Lila's one too, and Tari, and all that kind of stuff, so I really, really loved him. But can we talk about the stupidity of Kell and Lila, and that they put Holland through the door to Black London with the damn stone, and he's not actually dead. Really? Don't think that's gonna turn around and bite you in the ass later? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to. And I know that that's supposed to happen, and that he's gonna come back later, and yeah, but like, seriously, like, it's so stupid. And I know that they didn't, like, Kell really didn't want to kill him, and that's very hard to kill an Atari, and yeah, maybe he'll come back as a good person. Probably not. He's going to Black London with a black stone that, like, basically possesses people with its evil magic. But maybe he'll come back fine. No, he's not. And lastly, I want to talk about Kell and Rai and kind of the royal court and stuff. I know that's probably going to get looked into more as the books go on, and why Kell is there, and where he came from, and who he was before, but I really enjoyed the bond between him and Rai. I liked that, like, brother bond, and there's a lot of love there. But at the same time, I didn't quite get enough backstory for me to fully believe that. Like, why does Kell love Rai so much? Why do they love each other so much? How did that bond form? Like, Kell has saved his life twice at this point, and we don't really know where that bond came from. Is it just from time, or what are the different circumstances that made Kell love Rai so much over the years? Because right now we just see Rai as like a very cocky, confident, kind of asshole prince. In a lot of ways, I do like him as a character. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in the future books, but just not much to him, really. Like, what does Kell get out of that relationship, really? And so I really didn't buy that, and I wanted more complexity to that relationship. I'm looking forward to that more in future books, but I just felt like for this first book, we really needed to believe that bond, and while I did kind of believe it, I feel like we needed a little more than that to really get why Kell would literally bond his life to somebody else. Didn't quite make a ton of sense to me. Also, again, the villains just felt very flat to me. I wanted a little more out of Astrid and her brother, whose name I'm forgetting right now. I know they both had A names. But I just wanted more from them than just like the power-hungry monarchs that we see in every single series. And I just didn't get that from them. But I'm glad they made their exit now in book 1, and that it was kind of tied up very nicely, because I wouldn't have wanted to see them again and again in the future books. So I really liked the way that they actually went out. I liked how Kell defeated them. But ultimately, I just felt like they weren't as well-rounded and complex as I needed them to be for an adult novel. So lastly, the plot. Again, I wasn't a huge fan of how plot-driven it was. I just prefer character-driven books, and I didn't get those character complexities that I wanted, but I liked how fast-paced it was. I like how she split everything up and she put little title pages to each, like, chapter chunk, so you kind of knew what was being covered in that chapter and that kind of thing. It felt very like a movie script, and I really enjoyed that. But again, I found parts of it predictable. I just kind of knew at the end everything was going to work out. It's the first book in a trilogy. There wasn't a ton of suspense for me there. Even though everything was very dangerous for them, I just knew everything was going to be fine, so I didn't really enjoy that. What I did enjoy was that we didn't really have a romantic subplot in here. We just had Lila and Kell pretty much being friends. There was a little bit of flirting there, but not a ton. And maybe there might be something with Lila and Rai in the future, not really sure. I kind of like that little flirting at the end. But I like that ultimately they didn't like fall in love in this book or anything like that. I thought that was really cool, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm hoping that kind of continues throughout the series. I think we're going to get some love matches later on, but I really enjoyed that part of this first book because this book really didn't need to be bogged down by that. Ultimately, I did enjoy this book. I gave it like a 3.5 stars. I liked it. I just didn't like it as much as I thought I would. I just didn't like it as much as the hype made me think that I would. But I'm still really looking forward to the rest of the books in the series. I think I will get the character development that I want in later books in the series. I'm hoping. I think there's a lot of potential lined up there. I think all the stuff about, you know, I talked about like Lila and Holland and everything else. I think we're going to get more with that in Rye. I think we're going to get more of that character development that I desperately, desperately need in order to love a book and a series. I think that'll come in the next couple of books. So comment down below and let me know what you thought of A Darker Shade of Magic, and discuss with me all the feelings. If you think that Lila's Antari, if you think Holland's gonna be back, all these kinds of things I would love to discuss with you. Again, there's a lot of things that you can discuss from this book and different kind of theories you can come up with, so comment down below and let me know what some of yours are. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!